Writing. Real men don't chase, they walk away silently. Introduction. Imagine losing someone, and instead of begging, chasing, or proving your worth, you simply smile, turn around, and walk away. That single decision changes everything. Most people think strength is loud. They think power comes from convincing others to stay, explaining themselves over and over, or fighting for attention. But the strongest men in history understood something different. Real power is quiet. It doesn't shout. It doesn't plead. It doesn't chase. Welcome to Inner Steel, where we build unshakable confidence, emotional discipline, and the mindset of a true Stoic. If you're ready to become the kind of man who commands respect without saying much, make sure you subscribe to Inner Steel and join thousands of others learning to master themselves. Let's begin. Point 1. A man who knows his worth never begs. There comes a moment in every man's life when he must choose between his dignity and his desperation. Many choose desperation. They send another message after being ignored. They keep calling someone who clearly isn't interested. They try harder, hoping more effort will create more respect. But respect never grows from begging. It grows from self-respect. Marcus had been dating someone for nearly 2 years. At first, everything felt perfect. They talked every day, laughed together, and planned a future. Then everything changed. Her replies became shorter. The excitement disappeared. Whenever Marcus suggested meeting, she always seemed busy. His friends told him to keep trying. Fight for her, they said. So he did. He bought gifts. He sent long messages. He apologized for mistakes he never made. The harder he chased, the colder she became. One evening Marcus looked into the mirror and barely recognized himself. The confident man he once was had disappeared. Instead of sending another message, he put his phone down. He went for a long walk. The next morning he joined a gym. He started reading books. He focused on improving himself instead of convincing someone to love him. Weeks later she finally texted. His answer was simple. I wish you well. No anger. No revenge. No begging. Just peace. That day Marcus discovered something priceless. Walking away doesn't mean you stopped caring. It means you started caring about yourself. A real man understands that his value doesn't depend on another person's attention. When people choose to leave, let them. Your peace is worth more than anyone's approval. Point 2. Silence is more powerful than arguments. Most arguments don't change minds. They only drain your energy. When emotions take over, words become weapons. The strongest man isn't always the one with the best comeback. It's often the one who knows when silence is the wiser answer. Daniel worked in an office where one coworker constantly insulted him in front of everyone. Every day there was another sarcastic joke. Another attempt to provoke him. Everyone expected Daniel to explode. Instead, he stayed calm. He smiled politely. He finished his work. He never gave the bully the reaction he wanted. Months passed. Management noticed who remained professional under pressure. Daniel earned a promotion. The man who mocked him was eventually dismissed because his behavior created problems across the team. Daniel didn't win because he argued better. He won because he controlled himself better. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is discipline. Anyone can react. Few people can remain composed. When someone wants to pull you into unnecessary conflict, remember that every reaction is a gift you're giving them. Don't hand over your peace so easily. Sometimes the strongest sentence you'll ever speak is no sentence at all. Point 3. Rejection can become your greatest teacher. Nobody enjoys rejection. It hurts. It bruises the ego. It makes you question yourself. But rejection also has the power to reshape your life if you allow it. Samuel dreamed of starting his own business. He shared his idea with friends. Most laughed. Some told him he wasn't smart enough. Even investors turned him away. Every no felt like another door closing. For a while he considered giving up. Then he remembered something. Every successful person has been rejected more times than most people ever realize. Instead of quitting, he improved. He studied marketing. He learned sales. He fixed every weakness people pointed out. Years later, the same people who laughed asked him for advice. Success didn't come because everyone believed in him. It came because he refused to let rejection define him. The same applies to relationships. If someone rejects you, don't chase them. Use that energy to become wiser, healthier, stronger, and more confident. The greatest revenge isn't making someone regret losing you. The greatest victory is becoming someone who no longer needs their approval. Point 4. Emotional control is a man's greatest weapon. Strength isn't measured by muscles alone. It's measured by what happens when life punches you in the face. Anyone can remain calm when everything is going well. Real character appears during storms. Anthony lost his job without warning. Bills piled up. His family depended on him. Fear whispered that he had failed. Instead of collapsing, Anthony followed a daily routine. He woke up early. He exercised. He applied for jobs. He learned new skills every afternoon. He refused to allow panic to control his decisions. Months later, he found a better position with higher pay. Looking back, Anthony realized the job loss wasn't the end. It was the beginning of becoming mentally stronger. Life will test every man. People will disappoint you. Plans will fail. Dreams will take longer than expected. If your emotions control you, every challenge becomes unbearable. If you control your emotions, every challenge becomes training. The calm man isn't lucky. He's prepared. Point 5. Walking away creates space for better things. Nature teaches a powerful lesson. Trees release dead leaves every season. Not because they hate them. Because holding on to them prevents new growth. Your life works the same way. Sometimes you must release people, habits, and situations that no longer help you grow. James stayed in a toxic friendship for years. His friend constantly criticized him, borrowed money without returning it, and laughed at his dreams. James feared being alone, so he tolerated the disrespect. One day he quietly ended the friendship. There was no dramatic speech. No social media post. No revenge. Just distance. At first, loneliness felt uncomfortable. But soon something remarkable happened. He met people who encouraged him. He found mentors who challenged him. He developed confidence he never knew he possessed. Walking away from negativity made room for positivity. Many people stay trapped because they're afraid of letting go. But you cannot receive something better while your hands are still holding on to what hurts you. Sometimes the bravest step isn't moving towards someone. It's moving away. Every silent step toward peace is a step toward becoming the man you were always meant to be. Remember, a real man doesn't chase what has already decided to leave. He invests that energy into becoming stronger, wiser, calmer, and more valuable. That is the path of inner steel. In the next part, we'll cover points 6 to 10, each with deeper Stoic lessons, compelling stories, and smooth transitions that continue building the full script. Point 6. He stops trying to convince people. A man who has grown emotionally strong doesn't waste his energy trying to make everyone understand him. He knows that people will judge him based on their own experiences, not his explanations. Instead of arguing, defending himself, or begging to be believed, he lets his actions speak over time. There was a man named Daniel who worked hard for years to build a small business. Friends laughed at him because they couldn't see immediate results. Every time they mocked him, he tried to explain his vision. They only laughed more. One day he stopped explaining. He quietly continued working every morning before sunrise. 3 years later, those same people were asking him for business advice. Daniel smiled politely. His success had answered every question he once tried to explain. Real men understand that respect is earned through consistency, not conversation. If this lesson speaks to you, subscribe to Inner Steel because every video is designed to strengthen your mind. Point 7. He lets rejection become his teacher. Every successful man has been rejected. The difference is that weak men see rejection as the end, while strong men see it as training. A young athlete dreamed of making his national team. He failed the selection 3 years in a row. Many of his friends quit sports completely. But instead of blaming the coaches, he asked himself, "What can I improve?" He trained harder, fixed his weaknesses, and came back stronger. On his 4th attempt, he finally made the team. If he had spent those years chasing approval or complaining, he would have remained exactly where he started. Rejection isn't punishment. It's preparation for people willing to grow. Point 8. He builds a life he doesn't want to escape from. Many people spend their lives chasing distractions because they don't enjoy the life they've created. A real man focuses on building a life filled with purpose, discipline, meaningful work, and peace. An office worker named Michael hated Mondays. Every weekend he escaped into parties and endless entertainment. One day he realized the problem wasn't Monday. It was the life he had built. He started learning new skills after work, improved his health, and eventually started a career he genuinely enjoyed. Within 2 years, he no longer waited for weekends to feel alive. Strong men don't chase temporary excitement. They build permanent fulfillment. Point 9. He protects his peace more than his pride. Sometimes the strongest move isn't proving you're right. It's walking away before unnecessary conflict steals your peace. An older neighbor once told his grandson, "Every argument asks for 2 people. If one refuses to fight, the battle dies." The grandson remembered those words years later when a stranger insulted him in public. Instead of reacting, he simply smiled and walked away. People around him expected anger. Instead, they witnessed maturity. Winning every argument doesn't make you powerful. Protecting your peace does. Point 10. He knows silence is never weakness. Silence makes many people uncomfortable because it cannot be controlled. While others rush to fill every quiet moment, a real man observes, listens, and thinks before speaking. An experienced businessman attended an important negotiation. Everyone in the room talked endlessly, trying to impress each other. He said very little. He listened carefully, noticed every weakness in their arguments, and finally spoke only a few clear sentences. Those few words changed the entire meeting, and he secured the best deal. Silence gave him power because he used it with wisdom. Remember, real men don't chase attention. They attract respect through discipline, patience, and quiet confidence. And if you're committed to becoming that kind of man, subscribe to Inner Steel. Every video is built to sharpen your mindset, strengthen your character, and help you become impossible to ignore. He protects his peace. A man who values himself refuses to sacrifice his peace just to keep someone interested. He knows that constant arguments, mixed signals, and emotional games slowly drain his confidence. Instead of fighting endless battles, he quietly chooses peace over chaos. There was a man named Daniel who spent months trying to convince a woman to love him. Every day he sent long messages, apologized for things he didn't do, and waited for replies that never came. One evening, he looked at himself in the mirror and realized he had become someone he no longer recognized. He stopped texting, focused on his career, started exercising, and rebuilt his confidence. Months later, she reached out, but by then, Daniel had found something far more valuable than her attention: his inner peace. A real man understands that peace is priceless. The strongest decision is often the quietest one. 12. Silence creates mystery. When someone expects you to chase but you simply walk away, they begin to wonder why. Silence often says more than 100 explanations ever could. Imagine a businessman named Michael. After a relationship ended, everyone expected him to beg for another chance. Instead, he accepted reality, wished her well, and disappeared from the drama. He invested his time in learning new skills and building his future. People who once overlooked him became curious. They realized his confidence didn't depend on anyone else's approval. Mystery comes from self-control, not manipulation. When your actions speak louder than your words, people notice. 13. Self-respect is more attractive than desperation. Nothing destroys attraction faster than desperation. Confidence grows when you know your worth and refuse to settle for less. James once kept canceling his own plans just to be available whenever someone called. He believed saying yes to everything would make him appreciated. Instead, he was taken for granted. One day he changed. He respected his own schedule, valued his time, and stopped chasing validation. Surprisingly, people respected him more than ever before. The lesson is simple: people are drawn to those who value themselves first. 14. Growth is the best response. When life disappoints you, don't waste energy proving people wrong. Use that energy to become stronger. After being rejected for a promotion, Samuel could have complained. Instead, he studied every night, improved his skills, and worked on himself. A year later, he received an even better opportunity at another company. Those who doubted him were shocked, not because he argued with them, but because he quietly became better. Your greatest revenge is your personal growth. Success speaks with a voice that never needs to shout. 15. Walk away with your head high. Walking away doesn't mean you failed. Sometimes it means you finally chose yourself. An elderly mentor once told his grandson, "Never stay where your value must be constantly explained." Those words stayed with him for life. Whenever he faced disrespect, he didn't fight for acceptance. He simply walked away with dignity and continued building the life he wanted. Years later, he looked back without regret because every door he closed made room for a better one to open. Remember this: real strength isn't found in chasing people who don't value you. It's found in having the courage to walk away silently, protect your dignity, and keep moving toward a better future. And if you're enjoying this journey toward becoming stronger, wiser, and more disciplined, subscribe to Inner Steel for more powerful lessons on confidence, self-respect, and mental toughness. Here's the continuation of your script. Writing. 16. Time is too valuable to waste. Every minute you spend chasing someone who doesn't appreciate you is a minute you could spend building a better future. Real men understand that time is their greatest asset. Once it's gone, it never comes back. There was a young entrepreneur named Victor who spent years trying to win the approval of people who constantly ignored him. He attended every gathering, offered help whenever asked, and tried to impress everyone around him. Yet, he was rarely respected. One day, he stopped seeking validation. He used those same hours to learn business, improve his health, and read books that strengthened his mind. 5 years later, his life had completely changed. The people who once overlooked him now admired the man he had become. Your time is an investment. Spend it on becoming the person you want to be, not on convincing others to value you. 17. Confidence doesn't need permission. A confident man doesn't wait for someone else to tell him he's enough. His confidence comes from the promises he keeps to himself. A man named Isaac dreamed of becoming a fitness coach, but every time he shared his plans, people laughed. Instead of arguing, he quietly went to work. He woke up before sunrise, trained every day, studied nutrition, and earned his certifications. 2 years later, he opened his own gym. The same people who doubted him became his clients. Confidence grows through action, not approval. The more you invest in yourself, the less you need recognition from others. 18. Let your success speak. Words can be ignored, but results are impossible to deny. Instead of explaining your value, build a life that proves it. A former employee named David was constantly criticized by his manager. Rather than fighting back, he left the company with respect. He started a small business from home and worked tirelessly. Years later, his business became successful, employing dozens of people. One day, his former manager applied for a job at David's company. David didn't celebrate or seek revenge. He simply smiled, treated him with respect, and let success tell the story. Real power is quiet. Your achievements will always speak louder than your arguments. 19. Every goodbye creates a new beginning. Walking away may feel painful today, but it often leads to opportunities you never imagined. After a painful breakup, Michael believed his life was over. Instead of chasing someone who had already moved on, he decided to travel, learn new skills, and reconnect with old friends. During one of those trips, he met people who inspired him to pursue a career he had always dreamed about. Looking back, he realized that losing one relationship opened the door to a completely new life. Sometimes the end of one chapter is the beginning of your greatest story. 20. Become the man you admire. The goal is never to make someone regret losing you. The goal is to become someone you are proud to see in the mirror every single day. An old craftsman told his apprentice, "Don't spend your life trying to be chosen. Spend your life becoming a man of character." The apprentice followed that advice. He became disciplined, honest, dependable, and calm under pressure. Years later, people naturally trusted and respected him, not because he demanded it, but because he had earned it through his actions. Remember, real men don't chase. They walk away silently when necessary, protect their dignity, focus on growth, and build lives filled with purpose. The strongest man in the room is often the one who speaks the least but acts the most. If this message inspired you, subscribe to Inner Steel for more powerful lessons on confidence, discipline, stoic wisdom, and becoming the strongest version of yourself.